This is News Director Bob Alm, and my guests for this weekend's edition of Community Focus are the athletic directors from both school systems here in Delphos. Joining me in studio this weekend are Kent Smelser from the Jefferson Senior High School and Todd Schulte from the St. John's High School here in Delphos. And they're here to talk about the newly announced formation of a new 501c3 charitable organization that's been set up to raise funds for major upgrades planned in Stadium Park in Delphos. First of all, gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. Todd, if I could start with you, give us some background on the new 501c3 Champions Field Incorporated.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. The whole background behind the new 501c3 was a project that we're all really excited about here for both schools in the community is to raise funds for a phase one project, which would be to replace the field out there with synthetic turf, and then move on to hopefully at some point look at replacing the home side bleachers and doing some things with the home side lighting as well.
And obviously the stadium having been built late in the 1930s, there is a need for considerable upgrades as you look ahead.
Absolutely, and that was in our discussion. Do we work on a turf field first, or do we look to work on the home side bleachers? And as a committee, we decided we wanted to get to work on the turf field first, and then a phase two of the project then would be to look at replacing those home side bleachers. And
in the midst of a pandemic, planning for a project as ambitious as this, has it been difficult?
Well, we went round and round about that for a while, whether we wanted to continue on or not. But the consensus of our committee was, let's give it a shot. The worst that people can say is no. We're not interested in trying to get this project moving forward. But we've had very positive responses so far.
Talk about the folks who are in the primary committee, which has been involved in the planning.
Yeah, it's myself, Kent, Craig Mansfield with the Parks manager, and then Adam Lee, the principal at St. John's. So it's been the four of us that are the directors for the Champions Field Incorporated. And we've had some other vested individuals behind the scenes with us, helping us through this process.
And Kent, talk about your involvement in the group. Obviously, you're fairly new to the athletic director's position at Jefferson Senior High School. Why do you see this project as important?
Being relatively new in the third year, I'm starting to learn people and how it works a little bit here. And I do want to say one thing, that when you talked about the pandemic, well, another part of it, we had a levee up at the Jefferson School, and that slowed the push for the field slowed down. There wasn't anything really done towards that. And between the two schools and the community, they supported that levee, which was greatly needed. So once that was passed, we came back and started attacking raising the funds to put in the field. And I've always felt, living in Van Wert and looking just from 15 miles away, that it's a great athletic program for both schools over here in the past, and anything you can do to improve the facilities, get soccer out on the fields, get the field being used for practice for baseball, softball. It's a multi-purpose field, and it would just add to the community as a whole.
Let's talk individually, if we can, about how you see a project like a turf field in Stadium Park benefiting your student athletes. Kent, I'll start with you.
Well, one of the biggest factors is, and I've not experienced this, but, just listening to Todd and with weather, and as much as that field's used, some nights towards the end of the season, it's going to be a quagmire out there. And we're not putting our kids out to have the best opportunity to get the best level of performance out of them. And the other thing is the safety factor. You usually don't get hurt in mud, but you could drown once in a while, I guess, out there. So, but other than that, it's just being able to have a high quality field to play and even practice on, as well as potentially hopefully bringing in some playoff games, be it football or soccer or whatever.
And Todd, what about the impact on student athletes at St. John's?
Well, I think Kent said it right. Out there's many games out there played on a field that's is in question of should you be on it or not, but it's just a matter of I think Craig and his crew out at the park always have done a great job getting that field ready to go. But our unique situation, there's always a game on Friday night, and then there's always a game Saturday morning. So you have a rainy weekend, that field, all the work that Craig and his crew put in there could be gone in a matter of one weekend. So this will put us in a situation where we don't have to worry about that anymore, and Right now in a typical year, there's 50 to 60 contests played on that, and we'll be able to bump that up. We think well over 100 with bringing in both girls soccer teams from both school, our midget teams. We'd like to get the flag football program that's really taken off on there and place them on there, as well as some of our community soccer events, get those young kids out there as well. So as Kent mentioned, we could have some practices on there. Our baseball, when the weather is not good and can't get on the field yet with this great Ohio weather we get, they could do some practicing on there as well. So, I foresee in the fall that field is not empty any night of the week.
The process is very extensive. There's a lot of planning that needs to be done. Time frame is fairly short, but phase one of the estimated project for the turf field, you're hoping right now to have it in place in time for what will be kind of a history-making game coming up later this year, Ken.
There's been a lot of work done before I arrived, and Dave Huffman in the athletic director's position over at Jefferson was a big part of that, I believe, in getting this game set up between St. John's and Jefferson. Todd and I have had some just talks while we're sitting around, and we're looking to make a whole day out of it down in the park and just make it a huge event, be it getting the whole community involved, get everybody down there, and hopefully be a good fundraiser for both schools.
And that date for that first game of the 2021 high school football season is August 21st. We've talked a little bit about the committee, about the organization. Todd, how has the fundraising gone so far?
We're happy. We think it's went pretty good to this point. And you mentioned it before. We're in the midst of crazy times here with everything that's going on. As Kent mentioned, it was really important for us to really back off on what we were doing when the school levy came up. We wanted to make sure that all focus was on that. But since we've got back at it, things have went really well. Our estimated price for our field is out there is $950,000, and we're $201,000 away from having that raised. So not only are we looking to make sure that the first time around we have that funds ready to go, but also the field is guaranteed 8 years, but everything they're saying now they can get 10, 12. The company we're going with has a field that's going on their 15th year right now. So we want to make sure when it comes time to replace that surface, we've got those funds in place too, and we're not going back out and knocking on too many doors to get that done.
Todd Schulte, if somebody would like to get involved in the effort to raise funds for the project, what is the best way to get in touch with you folks?
Yeah, I think the best way is just to get a hold of myself at St. John's High School. They can just call there, and they'll get the information to me, or they'll get the call to me. And the same thing with Kent is just to call the Jefferson High School, and they will get them directed to Kent, and we can set up that process. And we'd love to talk to people about it. And anybody has questions, please reach out to us. We are very excited about this, not just for both schools, but for the community itself. And as Kent and myself talked, and some other stakeholders in both schools, I'm not sure there's been a bigger project where both schools have been basically the driving force to get a great project done like this.
And the driving force for the project they're talking about is an effort to improve the stadium park facilities in Delphos, beginning during the year of 2021 with the creation of a new 501c3 Champions Field Incorporated. Joining me to talk about it this weekend from Jefferson Senior High School, Athletic Director Kent Smelser, from St. John's, the Athletic Director Todd Schulte. Thanks so much for joining us for Community Focus this weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.